Hey friends, it's Gina. Welcome to the Rebookery channel. I'm going to do video segment number 2 today on this flip through of my art journal from 2014. It was a popular mechanics book that I altered and turned into a scrapbook. I left off with this spread right here. And on this one I did painted the background with like some pastel colors and then added some pops of bright colors with some spray inks and some stencils. Then I found a photo of my husband when he was a little boy, and I thought the washed out color of the photo worked well on the left hand side. On the right hand side I added a photo of the train station documenting a day when we took our daughter to catch a train to Chicago. This is one of those times where, again, no rules. I just picked something that I had pictures of and stuck them in here. So this is very out of the, ordinary. It's not following a pattern or anything, but this is a birthday party that I happened to put the pictures in here. So the background was already done. I had already lightly painted over it with some yellow and some watercolors, and then I just had these pictures sitting in the tub of a birthday party that my kiddos had gone to a long time ago, and I was tired of looking at them just sitting in a box, so I stuck them in here. And it was funny because as soon as I put them in here, my kids, who are grown up now, started to look at the pictures and they started to have memories of that birthday party, and so I was able to write down what they remembered from that birthday party. So it was kind of cool to scrapbook something that had happened a long time ago. But this is just watercolor and some vintage wrapping paper that I had stuck on here, and some stickers that I got like at the Dollar Tree or something. Then this page, I had this page for a long time. This was just a page where it was a pretty page. It had lots of stamps and lots of pictures, or I'm sorry, lots of stamps and lots of pen work, and just lots of flowers, and the colors were just very pretty. And it was almost one of those pages where it was so pretty I didn't want to put a picture, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the journal. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, I've seen the pretty page enough. Now I need to add something to it. So for this side, I actually did this side first. I had a picture of my leg. It was crossed. I was outside laying on the grass one day, and so I just stuck that picture there, and then I wrote, if I hadn't made all the mistakes I made, then I wouldn't have learned all that I know, which is something that as you get older, you find out that mistakes are actually a pretty good thing. And then I kind of liked the viewfinder. I had a little picture, or a little die cut of a viewfinder from a scrapbook kit that I had, and I thought that was pretty cool because, one, this reminds me of my childhood, and two, wouldn't it be awesome if we had had a viewfinder when we were growing up, and we'd be like, yeah, you're supposed to make those mistakes. It actually makes you a better human being. This is an image transfer again with the contact paper, and then this is just some handmade paper. So then, oh, and then this little flower right here was a flower that one of my students made me just a couple of years ago, and I don't know why. I just happened to stick it on that page. It just seemed to go. So I put that on there, and then I wrote down who had given it to me. Then this page stayed blank for a really long time. And again, I was just shuffling through my pictures, and I found this picture of my youngest in 2007. And because he is 5 and 7 years younger than my other two, we kind of call him the tag along kid. Because he just always had to tag along with us when we went someplace with the other two, like practices and stuff. And so I put that in here, I journaled about it, put what we used to call him, the tag-along kid. And then I found this little picture of 2015. So in this one, I'm taking a picture of him, and you can see through the side mirror of my car, my reflection. And in this one, I'm taking a picture of him, and it's through the the visor mirror, and I'm in the front seat, he's in the back. And so this is 2015. And the difference here is, here he was tagging along with us, and now I feel like we tag along with him. And that's just kind of the irony of growing up and having your kids grow up and things not always staying the way they are. But anyway, I love that, and it seems to work with the colors and the images and stuff. Even though these are flowers and this was a pretty page, it works having a picture of my grubby little son on here in my foot. It just seems to all kind of come together. So this is more of my moon obsession. And then this one started with this page and this page. And I had just taken some field guide pages. Tape doesn't stick down. I'd taken some field guide pages and stuck those in, some produce stickers, just some pin work, made this very light with a lot of glitter on it. And then just drew some really detailed drawings of the moon, put some of my favorite parts from my poem, the one that I love to use all the time, called Is the Moon Tired by Christina Rossetti. So I just wrote some of those words down. And then I had this page that I had done where I had seen the moon 2 days in a row. It was in 2014. So this is what the moon looked. It was a full moon. This is what it looked like at night on November 5th. So again, I just made the moon out of supplies that I had. This was a map, and I painted over it, and I added some like shipping tape. It's got these little white strands of fabric in there, so it kind of has a little bit of a texture. So this was the moon, and this is what I thought it looked like that night, and I did the background in all kinds of different paper, made my stickers into houses. And then the next day on the way to school, this is what the moon looked like. And the sky was different. It was more periwinkle and blue, and I could hear the birds. And then this was just a piece of, I think this was just like some scrap paper where I had done some stamping and stuff underneath. So I painted over it with white paint. And the moon actually looked a little pink. So I added some pink to it, stitched around it, added some glitter, put a tree down there, and some wrapping paper in the background. And so this is the way I like to document the moon. I could take a picture of it, and I think there are so many wonderful photographers out there who take beautiful pictures of the moon. I can't, so I'd rather make the moon. And even though it's not the actual picture of the moon, it does bring back all the memories of when I saw that full moon. And it really, to me, it really truly did look like that, and it really looked like that. So this is more of my moon obsession. This is a page where I just have this random picture. We kind of all have these, random pictures of it just one picture, and maybe you weren't even there when the picture was taken. And this was one of those times. I wasn't there when the picture was taken. This was at my mom's house. This is my daughter, this is my son, and then this is my cousin's little boy who was the same age as my son, and the three of them were the best of friends growing up. And so somebody took this picture at my mom's house and gave it to me, and I've just had it sitting around, and I don't know the story. I don't know what they were doing. I'm sure they were getting in all kinds of trouble, but I just wanted to put that picture on here. So this is a picture from a vintage children's book. There's some paper, looks like some wrapping paper underneath, some stamping, some image transfer, and then I put their initials down here and just cut out these little arrows and stuck it on there. And that's it. I don't need anything else to tell that story. This is a picture of my son when he was in kindergarten. And the funny thing about this is this was when our school got a color printer for the first time. And so, that was like really cool back then. And so I took a picture of my son with the digital camera that we had just gotten at the school, and then printed it out on the color printer. And that was just like the best thing in the world. So I hung on to it forever because, at that time, that was a novelty. And then I finally ended up and just cut it out and stuck it in here because, now I print pictures out all the time. But that was kind of cool to have that. And then I wrote down a song that he made up and he used to sing. And then in the background, this was a little notebook that I had found at a thrift store. And it was just this little old lady and her notes that she had written. And some of them were about some projects, like some sewing projects. So I think that that's what this one was. But then others were ones that she had written about some trips she had taken. So I started to take these little notebook pages and stick them in as the background to some of these pages. So you'll see some more of these as I keep going with these pages. This one was another pretty layout where I just left a lot of the text exposed and then just added some color washes of watercolors and some tape and a doily. This was an image I got from Flow magazine. And then again, here's that lady, that little lady's notes that she had in that little notebook and some wrapping paper. This over here is a picture of a cookie that actually looked better than it tasted. And then here are her notes again on a trip to Colorado that she had taken. And so I had this all done, and again, it was a very pretty page, but I felt like it needed something. When I saw this picture of my daughter, and the colors seemed to go really well. There's something about those colors, how they went. And so I stuck this picture in there. This was when she was being a big girl and she was moving out. She moved out actually a couple of times. So this was the first time she moved out. And so I just put on here, off you go. Flipped it over. There's another picture of her. I think this was a picture of her when she was in high school. And so this is about the time that she moved into an apartment, and it was, here's the streets where her apartment sat. So 55th and Charlotte. So I had a picture of that and stuck it with that. And the colors kind of all work together. And it just kind of tells a little story about when she was becoming a big girl. This one, I had some vintage book paper, and then of course, you know, like paint and tape and all that stuff. But this one I added some candy wrappers. So these are like Tootsie Pop candy wrappers, and they're kind of hard to stick down because they're waxed. But I don't know, I thought they were fun and I liked the colors, and so I added those. And then this is a picture of a little flip of my of our dog, who actually is at the door crying right now, so I may have to take a break here and go see what he needs. This is just some pictures again that I had already scrapbooked these pictures, but these were the extras, and I just saw them sitting around, and I had this wrapping paper, and I felt like they could go together, so I put them on this page. And even though I've already documented this in another scrapbook, I just really like how it goes in here, and it's just a little snippet of that day that we spent at the zoo in 2003. This is a page where I don't have any photos again, but I showed my kids at school Apollo 13 whenever we study physics and Newton's laws. And so one time I was watching it because I've seen it a million times, and I had my journal, and I just happened to start writing down all of my favorite phrases. I know the movie by heart, but I just started to write down all my favorite phrases. And so then that page I started with, you know, this phrase right here, so long earth, catch you on the flip side. And then it just evolved from there, and I started putting space stickers in and doing the drawing of when they slingshot around the moon. So I think this is a great place to stop for now. I'll save the rest of the journal for part 3. If you haven't been able to watch part 1, check the description below for a link. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Have a great day.